You know what we shouldn't do? Regime change in the Middle East. Why? Because we never have a fucking plan for what happens next. I don't even think that half of the things we were told about Gaddafi was true, to be honest. But even if they were, let's assume that he was, I don't even remember what they were saying, just killing loads of people randomly. And it wasn't the fact that loads of our special forces were captured there. It wasn't the fact that we were obviously funding terrorists. There were insurrectionists there. It doesn't matter that ISIS are now there trading slaves in markets as if this is like 1,000 years ago and this is completely normal. It doesn't matter that it's a failed state. This just cannot be considered more beneficial than the state of Libya before. Libya had the highest human index in all of Africa. Libyan government used to subsidise oil and electricity, so you paid hardly anything for that. When the newly married couple got married, they got $50,000 to buy a house with. I mean, are we honestly saying that that is worth it's not worth preserving? Even if, oh, well, Gaddafi's an autocrat, he's a dictator. Okay. I agree, I don't like dictatorships either. But we've got a long history of democratic accountability in the West, and Libya doesn't. So if we just get rid of Gaddafi, what happens next? Oh, well, we know what happens next. It's fucking unbelievable. Let's look at some of the details, shall we? West African migrants are being bought and sold openly in modern-day slave markets in Libya. Survivors have told a UN agency helping them return home. Trafficked people are passing through Libya have previously reported violence, extortion and slave labour, but the new testimony from the International Organization for Migration suggests that the trade in human beings has become so normalised that people are being traded in public. Well, why the fuck wouldn't they? It's completely acceptable according to the Quran, completely acceptable according to the political ideology of ISIS. This is no surprise whatsoever. I can't imagine that the average Libyan who's just trying to get along is very happy with this, but what are they going to do? They're not the one with the guns and the psychotic jihadis. One 34-year-old survivor from Senegal said that he was taken to a dusty lot in the South Libyan city of Sabah after crossing the desert from Niger in a bus organised by people smugglers. Well, there's your first mistake. Don't get into a bus that's organised by people smugglers. I'm joking, he obviously didn't know. The group had paid to be taken to the coast where they had planned to risk a boat trip to Europe, but their driver suddenly said that middlemen had not passed on his fees but put his passengers up for sale. The men on the pickup were brought to a square or parking lot where a kind of slave trade was happening. There were locals, he described them as Arabs, buying sub-Saharan migrants. Well, that's not a fucking story as old as time, is it? That's not something they've been doing for thousands of years, but fucking, alright, carry on. Several other migrants confirmed this story, independently describing kinds of slave markets as well as kinds of private prisons all over Libya. IOM Italy has confirmed that his story is similar to many stories reported by migrants and collected at landing points in southern Italy, including the slave market reports. This gives more evidence that the stories the reported are true, as the stories of those who manage to cross-match those who are returning back to their countries. That's just great. Brilliant. Amazing foreign policy that we have. I mean, we are truly going around the world creating a land of peace and plenty for all. This is horrific. If we had just let Gaddafi and, well, after Gaddafi died, his son, continue on with their dynastic rule in Libya, it wouldn't be happening. This wouldn't be happening. Libya wouldn't be a failed state. ISIS wouldn't be controlling large swathes of it. We keep fucking things up in the Middle East. It's no wonder they don't like us. We keep meddling. And let's be honest, a lot of it is for the benefit of the Saudis and the benefit of Israel, which, I mean, I don't really care about the Saudis or Israel, so I don't really want to ruin other people's countries with my tax-paying dollars and then be the sort of person who has to then read this and go, shit. In a very small but very true and indirect way, I'm partially responsible for this. This is fucking abysmal. I'm not happy with this. I'm not fucking happy with this. But you know what's going to happen? You know exactly what's going to happen. This fucking nothing. Nothing is going to happen with this. No one's going to do anything. They'll go to the UN, they'll get resolutions, they'll go, oh my god, something's terrible, terrible, terrible. But it would require boots on the ground. We'd have to send people there to deal with this. It's not going to happen. Not going to fucking happen. Waste of our money. We've already got the oil. We've already got access to the oil. We don't need to do anything more. Fuck those people. That's the opinion.